What's the dumbest thing you've seen someone do at a store? I watched a toddler drink nail polish. His mom didn't do anything besides take the bottle and do the weird violent angry whisper thing. Look what you've done. Now mommy will have to pay for that. Her. Probably. I think it was a glittery red color. The kind with massive flakes and st, so definitely not good for the boy, but yeah, that sounds about right. An employee asked if they should call poison control and she didn't think or even look at them and said no lol. Ew. This reminds me of one of those strange addiction shows where the lady was addicted to drinking nail polish. She especially liked glittery ones because they made her feel sparkly inside. I worked at Albertsons in Boise, Idaho quite a few years ago. We had a man named Harley Brown come into the store with a rifle. We thought that he was going to rob us. But instead, he went to customer service with it and asked if he could pee in it so that he could get beer. Yes. I realize that Reddit is supposed to be anonymous. But Harley Brown is a matter of public record as he tried to run for POTUS a couple of times in the past. The dude is a straight-up cook. He says that God told him personally that it was his destiny to be POTUS. No joke. Fighting over paper toilet. That thing was stupid as FK. Something tells me paper toilets are a single-use item. Though I've never seen one. I'm pretty sure I want nothing to do with a toilet made of paper. I worked in a small supermarket in a rural area that was popular with tourists. A lot of people had holiday homes there. I saw many a fight over the last turkeys at Christmas. Some actually resulted in violence. Luckily, the local police station was located quite literally across the street. So it was always easy enough to get help. Never had a huge problem with shoplifting either. Strange that. There's this cafe I go to every single day. Pre-CV-19 anyways. Where every single worker knows me. I do their IT for them for free as well in exchange for free drinks. The owner is a nice guy but out of touch with tech. The manager is AFGDD that uses the "it's because I'm gay" excuse to downplay anything said against him. He is homosexual. Frequently BS about his lack of relationship. Tries to be buddy-buddy with people when convenient. But nobody buys it. Never works a closing shift. Late close cafe. You get the picture. There was this one gallon that worked there and had a spicy Instagram. Everyone knew about it but nobody cared. Her business. This manager clearly feels bothered that she gets loads of attention from guys because she's super pretty and friendly. He begins pulling her to the side to criticize really dumb st like missing a tiny area of the counter when wiping. Or being 2 minutes late on a rainy day. Etc. Then on time she was sick. Still forced to come into work. And handle register. I'm sitting drinking my usual mess and doing some work on a CAD design. He pulls her aside and angrily and loudly tells her she needs to speak in a more polite tone right in front of me. She explains that she's sick and her voice is a bit bad, which was true. He then tells her she's good for nothing and will never make it anywhere in life outside of Instagram. He said this a bit loudly. The old dude behind me stood up and asked if he was the manager and proceeded to rip him an absolute new one. Loud enough for the entire cafe to hear. Upon hearing what the manager had said, almost every customer left immediately. I stayed behind because I couldn't stop laughing. Manager glares at me and tells me to get out. But the supervisor comes over and says I should stay. Manager asks why. And supervisor says, because we really don't want to tell. Owner. What? My billing rate for the IT work is. Manager asks what it is. I show him my rates for the work and my logged hours and he nearly SS himself when he owes me more than $3. $5K and the free tea barely covers $250 over the course of a year. I told him to be nicer to my favorite employees or I'd be letting the owner know about my bills. And the supervisor backed me up. Manager doesn't give me or anyone else st when I'm around anymore. But he's still an AS pretty frequently. I don't understand why minimum wage managers take their jobs so FG seriously. Dude doesn't get paid enough to be such a jackass to people. I'm dealing with someone like that right now. I come here to work. And I work hard. Quote, who are you trying to impress? The FG high school employees? The GM who already hates you? People with that pay scale are interchangeable. What does it matter if the new kid missed a spot? Oh, I'm sorry. You make $1 per hour more than me. I sincerely apologize for the grave error of my incompetence. 2 dummies in one store in one day. It was Black Friday, which brings out the best in everyone. First, I'm following a lady in a line of cart after cart down a toy aisle. One lady starts shopping out of another lady's cart while the one is distracted. Totally walked off with the stuff. Then, while in the checkout line, was following 2 ladies. The first had groceries and toys on the conveyor and was being rang up while the second lady was placing her items on the conveyor with the obligatory black bar separating their orders. Second lady sees a turkey that the first lady was purchasing, decided she wanted it, and moved the black bar to the front of the turkey, essentially claiming said turkey. Both times, neither person realized. Now I'm normally the type of person to point out idiots. With it being Black Friday and already going through shopping HL, I kept to myself. I still wonder how many Christmas times are ruined by other people's greed. Okay. I was at Costco and a little kid saw the watermelons. This kid picks up the biggest one and calls to his mom, "Look mom. A big." The watermelon drops and everyone was looking at the kid. I used to work at a 3-story big box retail store. Some new kid was working stocking shelves on the upper level. His hand slipped opening a box and he cut himself really badly with his box cutter. Fine. Accidents happen. There are a few things one might do to remedy this situation. Perhaps use his store-issued walkie-talkie to call another employee for help. Or maybe he could use one of the many cardboard boxes he had to contain the blood while he went for help. Maybe even use one of the dozens of conveniently placed and clearly labeled first aid kits. Nope. Unfortunately, his solution to the gaping hand wound was to walk across the entire upper story to the escalator, take it down to the second story. Then, inexplicably, instead of getting on the escalator to the bottom floor, which was right there, at the foot of the escalator he just got off, he crosses the entire second floor to take the elevator down. Naturally, the elevators were in the exact opposite end of his true destination, the store entrance. So he crosses an entire floor for the 3rd time, leaving a trail of blood across the entire store. Then he just left, never saying a word to anybody. Store policy was that no spills can be left unattended until they are cleaned up. But only a small fraction of the staff was trained to handle biospills. Also, nobody ever planned on a store-wide spill of this magnitude. We had to shut down all registers except the self-checkout and have all the cashiers, back room managers, security, basically everybody in the store that wasn't at lunch, make a human chain spaced throughout the store to block off as much as they could. The store manager had to wait outside and prevent more people from entering. This was a busy weekend day too. Then the small number of people who were allowed to clean up blood started working their way through the entire store, cleaning up an upsettingly high volume of this kid's blood. Bizarrely, he came back to work the next day, on a shift he wasn't even scheduled for, wearing a giant wad of gauze and tape on his hand, and tried to act like nothing had happened. He got fired and the entire store was required to train for biohazard cleaning on their following shift. I knew a person very much like this. It sounds totally like something he would do. He turned out to be seriously mentally ill. His parents were making him take meds for that, so, of course, he ran away as soon as he hit 18 and stopped taking them. I met him for the first time a week later without knowing any of this, and got to witness his slide into madness from first row seat, without knowing what was happening. Oh. And he got obsessed with me and kept coming to my workplace in my absence to tell people details about how he was going to propose to me. We never dated. All I did was listen politely to his rants. 3 whole times. I worked at a home improvement retailer. One guy wanted to buy an attic ladder. There's a display, but the actual product is stored in the overhead. So I got a lift truck and got one down for him. Dude wants to look at it. Again. There's a display. But whatever. I open the box up so he can look at it. He decides yeah, that's what he wants. Fair demands that I get another one down for him. His reason? The box is open on this one. I refused. I work at Walgreens and have seen people dip their fingers in face creams, test out lipsticks on the back of their hands, and even open food products to taste it. Then they'll have the nerve to put the contaminated product back just to pick up the same product, but unopened. And I don't get why they feel they have the right to argue with me when I tell them they can't do that. It's disgusting. Woman buys a bunch of groceries and is trying to split the order over 2 cards, but accidentally realized after she paid that there was one more item on the belt that was hers that she wanted on the first card. Cashier tries to just scan the one item and have her pay for one item. Woman refuses, saying she needs all the items on one receipt and needs the transaction cancelled and rerun. So they cancel order and then unpack all the groceries and rescan. Woman tries to run her card and it's over the limit. Because she doesn't understand pending charges don't go away immediately, even though the cashier mentioned it. I've now gone on waiting about 5+ minutes. When the woman picks up her phone to call her credit card company, and refused to move while she had this conversation. At that point I went to the other aisle. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's still in that checkout line. The number of grown-ass adults who couldn't handle a simple shopping trip, then proceeded to get in their car and drive off, was highly alarming. There was one middle-aged regular who couldn't work the card machine. Held her card up and snapped, "I have this. What do I do with this?" Then she snapped at every screen. "What is it saying now?" "It's asking if you want to donate." "What do I push?" "Do you want to donate?" "No." Then push no. She would do this every time she came in. My sister and her friends went to a Jack in the Box to hang out and whatnot. One of them ordered an Oreo cookie shake without the whipped cream on top. "But can I still get the cherry?" Her friend asked nicely. "But you said you didn't want whipped cream?" The employee replied, raising a brow. "Yes, ma'am. Sir." She starts annoyed. "Where am I supposed to put the cherry if there's no whipped cream?" Quote, "Both are puzzled for different reasons." "Well," he suggested, shocked he had to say it all, "could you put it on top of the shake?" Quote, edit. She. I had the opposite issue. This customer wanted me to only butter half of her popcorn. She suggested I butter it in half after filling the entire thing up. Like I'd put butter on only one side of the bucket. I told her that wasn't going to work because gravity would make it so the entire bottom half of the popcorn was buttered. I told her I could butter the bottom half of the popcorn and leave the top half unbuttered. Then give them something to split it up. She told me she didn't get it and to do what she said. I told her again that it would not work because I was still buttering the entire popcorn. So a little bit at the top would remain unbuttered, but the rest would have butter on it. I explained again that if I put the butter on the bottom, the top half would not have butter on it. I argued with her for another 5 minutes or so and she refused to understand how my way worked. She somehow insisted that the butter that was on the bottom would somehow defy gravity and make its way to the top, and that I needed to figure out a way to only butter half the bucket while it already being filled all the way up. It was one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with. People are truly stupid. A customer threatened to shoot me because I wouldn't sell him any bullets. Pay for 2 pints of MD 2020 Orange Jubilee. Already too drunk to stand. Take the change. Pass out. Hit chin on countertop. 3 stitches. Can't stand up. Ambulance comes. ST himself. Went to the hospital. Bal. 245. 08 is legally drunk. Spent 3 days in hospital suffering withdrawal. Proud to say that I'm now 17 months sober. Edit. 245. Congratulations on 17 months and for having the BS to print exactly what drinking does to your judgment and to your life. It's hard to quit drinking. My husband's cousin is an alcoholic and he's alienated everyone he's ever known. I hope that he gets sober too before he kills someone. He has 12 DWIs. Are you sure you put the period in the bowel correctly? The highest recorded one ever was 1.48%. Someone out there was wandering around with light beer in his veins. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.